welcome back to my channel and welcome to my April TBR video. You may or may not have noticed there wasn't a TBR for March. Basically, really big reading slump, didn't read for a month, didn't do a TBR. So I thought with my reading mojo slowly coming back, I will set myself an ish TBR for April, I will say, because there is a chance none of these books will be read. There is also a chance all these books will be read and I will hopefully read more. But so I don't waffle on, let's just get straight into the book. The first book on my TBR is my book for Buzzwordathon, and the prompt for April is nature words in the title. So for this one, I've gone for the one that jumped straight out at me that I already had in my TBR. The Hurricane Wars by Thea Goanzon. Ada and Sophie have both read this and both loved it, so I'm kind of hoping that'll be the same for me. So on to the synopsis. Taliesin was left on the steps of a Sardovian orphanage as a baby. All she has ever known is the Hurricane Wars, as her people fight for freedom from the tyranny of the Night Emperor Gaheris. But are they truly her people? Taliesin dreams of one day finding where she comes from, her family and the source of the magic that flows through her veins like sunlight. Alaric of House Osinast, master of the Shadowforge Legion and Gaheris' only son and heir, has been honed into a weapon by his father. Tasked with obliterating the neighbouring Sardovian Alfold, Alaric focuses on only one goal: extinguish all threats to the Night Empire with his armies and his storm ships and his shadow magic. That is, until he sees Taliesin burning brightly on the battlefield with the same light magic that slew his grandfather, turned his father into a monster, and ignited the decade-long Hurricane Wars. He tries and fails to kill her, something about her making him pause, allowing his now greatest enemy to slip through his fingers. But a new horror emerges from across the Eversea, one that promises to cause even more devastation than the Hurricane Wars. Only Taliesin and Alaric can stop it. Will these mortal foes be able to come together, or will they end up destroying each other and dooming their world in the process? Just an FYI, these books are not in the order they're going to be read, they're just in the order that I picked them up. So book number 2 is one that I just picked up today, and I am so looking forward to reading it. Every Move You Make by C.L. Taylor. If you have been on my channel a while, you will know that C.L. Taylor, or as I call her, Callie, is a firm favourite and an author by author for me, so definitely probably going to be starting the month off with this one. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Alexandra, Lucy, Bridget, River and Natalie. 5 friends who wish they'd never met, because the one thing they have in common is the worst thing in their lives. They are all being stalked. When one of their group is murdered, days after their stalker is released from prison, time stands still for them all. They know their lives could end just as brutally at any moment. All it takes is for the people they fear the most to catch up with them. When the group receive a threat that one of them will die in 10 days' time, the terror that stalks their daily lives becomes all-consuming. But they know they don't want to be victims anymore. It's time to turn the tables and finally get their revenge. Because the only way to stop a stalker is to become one yourself. Book number 3 is the 4th book in a series that I absolutely adore, and that is Voices of the Dead by Ambrose Parry. With this being book 4, normally I would say if I read you the synopsis, it will spoil the entire of the 3 books. Having quickly read the synopsis, I don't think this one does. But if it does, I will do a cut. And if I do a cut, I will apologise. If it doesn't, here's a synopsis. In a time of unprecedented scientific discovery, the public's appetite for wonder has seen a resurgence of interest in mesmerism, spiritualism and other unexplained phenomena. Dr. Will Raven is wary of the Shadowlands that lie between progress and quackery. But Sarah Fisher can't afford to be so picky. Frustrated in her medical ambitions, she sees opportunity in a new therapeutic field not already closed off to women. Raven has enough on his hands as it is, Body parts have been found at Surgeons Hall, and they're not anatomy specimens. In a city still haunted by the crimes of Burke and Hare, he is tasked with heading off a scandal. When further human remains are found, Raven is able to identify a prime suspect, and the hunt is on before the killer strikes again. Unfortunately, the individual he seeks happens to be an accomplished actor, a man of 1,000 faces and a renowned master of disguise. With the lines between science and spectacle dangerously blurred, the stage is set for a grand and deadly illusion. Book number 4 is The Half-Burnt House by Alex North. Katie Shaw always looked after her timid younger brother Chris, until she left him alone for one carefree afternoon. Chris was savagely attacked and their picture-perfect family fell apart. It's been years since the siblings last spoke, when out of the blue, Katie gets a call. It's the police. They're investigating a particularly chilling murder in a half-ruined house that once belonged to a notorious local serial killer. The case has thrown up plenty of unsettling questions, but only one prime suspect, Chris. The detective wants Katie's help in finding him, but she has only one thing on her mind: proving her brother's innocence and finally making up for her negligence all those years ago. But soon it becomes clear that the killer isn't finished yet, which means that even as she attempts to save her old family, Kate is placing her new one in deadly peril. Book number 5 and the first of 2 paperbacks is Girl Zero by A.A. Dand, the second book in the Detective Inspector Harry Verdi series. Now, A.A. Dand is a Bradford author and his series is currently being filmed by BBC and they are currently filming at my work. So I am very, very excited to carry on with this series before the TV series comes out so I don't get spoiled, hopefully. A routine call brings Detective Inspector Harry Verdi face to face with something no one should ever see: the cold body of his beloved niece. He's immediately banned from working the case, but there's no way Harry can walk away when the monster who killed his flesh and blood is still walking the streets. But before he can find the killer, he must tell his brother Ron the terrible news. Impulsive, dangerous and frighteningly well-connected, Ron will act first and think later. Harry may have a murderer to find, but if he isn't careful, he may also have a murder to prevent. And the second paperback and book number 6 that I will hopefully read is The Silence by Katarina Diamond. Gail wakes in the middle of the night to everyone's worst nightmare. She can't move, can't speak, and a stranger is standing over her. Then everything goes black. Gail knows that she didn't dream it, or him, but the police don't believe her. That was 2 years ago. She has tried to move on, forget what happened, until she meets his next victim. This woman's story is identical to hers, and the attack happened exactly 1 year later. There is 1 week left until he will strike again. Now the silence is broken. There is no telling what he will unleash. You may have noticed that out of the 6 books, 5 of them are crime focused. So a book that I probably won't read, but I put in to try and read in between the crime books, you're probably going to call me stupid. That book is Empire of the Damned by J. Christoph, book 2 in the Empire of the Vampire series. I love the cover, I love the sprayed edges, and this is a sequel, and I do believe the synopsis, does spoil book 1, Empire of the Vampire. So I'm going to go grab my iPad and read you the synopsis for Empire of the Vampire. That's on Goodreads. From Holy Cup comes holy light. The faithful hand sets world aright. And in the 7 martyrs' sight, mere man shall end this endless night. It has been 27 long years since the last sunrise. For nearly 3 decades, vampires have waged war against humanity. building their eternal empire even as they tear down our own. Now only a few tiny sparks of light endure in a sea of darkness. Gabriel de Leon is a silver saint, a member of a holy brotherhood dedicated to defending realm and church from creatures of the night. But even the Silver Order could not stem the tide once daylight failed us, and now only Gabriel remains. Imprisoned by the very monsters he vowed to destroy, the last Silver Saint is forced to tell his story. A story of legendary battles and forbidden love, of faith lost and friendships won, of the wars of the blood and the forever king, and the quest for humanity's last remaining hope, the Holy Grail. So yes, it is a sequel. It is a chonker. So with it being 646 pages long, my thinking is split this into 6, and as I finish one of these, I read a 6th. So this will be a month book, but hopefully that will stop me getting bogged down by all the crime and not going into another slump. Not that I think I will with all these books, but you never know. So there you have my ish TBR for April. Like I said, very crime heavy with 2 fantasies on there. But I think going crime / thriller is definitely the way to go to get me out of this slump properly and to not fall back into it. But let's see how that goes. If I somehow manage to read these 6 books. 7, Michelle. If I somehow manage to read these 7 books before the end of the month and I have time to pick up another, wow. I don't have a plan for that. I'm not planning for that. I am planning just to read these books and that's it. But let's see how this month goes because I am off for the first week. But I'll stop waffling. So like I said, that's my TBR. Have you read any of these books? If you have, let me know your thoughts. I am finding more and more that when people say they like a book that's not generally liked, I like it, and vice versa with the popular books. I normally don't like the popular books. For some reason, there are some exceptions. J. Christoph seems to be one of those. I know he's a very hit and miss author for people. I just tend to like his fantasy books, so I read it. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, let me know your thoughts on my TBR. And if there are any, and if you follow me on Goodreads and you think, Michelle, actually on your to be read shelves, there is another book that I think you will devour and will definitely get you out of this slump, let me know, please. But that's the end of the TBR. So if you like this video, please give it a like. If you are new to my channel, hi, my name is Michelle. My reading, like my life, is a chaotic mess. And I'm trying to get through it one book at a time. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. If you don't want to, that is not an issue. I will link my Bookstagram and Goodreads down below if you want to give me a follow on there instead. But until the next video, bye.